This is Gladys, the world's happiest 103-year-old.
People ask me, how does it feel to be 100 years old? Well, it feels like being 100 years old.
So amazed that I'm still alive and have this work to do. You know, to me, this is such an honor, and wow. Because people are injured, they're scared, they don't know what to believe, they don't know where the light is.
First of all, we have to accept the fact that we have a voice. Flunked first grade twice, and was a class dummy, and so for years, I saw myself as the really not bright one, but I had a lot of thoughts and a lot of things I need to.
Hello everyone. Today, I want to share something truly extraordinary with you. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of sitting down with someone very special, Gladys, a 103-year-old woman with the heart of a dreamer and the spirit of a fighter. When you think of someone at that age, what comes to mind? Frailty? Quiet days? Maybe even a sense of slowing down? Well, let me tell you, Gladys is none of those things. She's a writer, a podcaster, and someone who still wakes up every morning with curiosity and excitement for what the day will bring. In our conversation, Gladys shared her secrets for living a long, healthy, and meaningful life. And what struck me the most wasn't just her wisdom. It was her sheer joy, her laughter, and the light in her eyes when she spoke. She told me, life is a gift. If you open it with love, it'll give you surprises you never expected. Her story is one of embracing challenges, holding on to love, and learning to laugh even when the world seems dark. And let me tell you, some of the things she shared, they're not just lessons for old age, they're lessons for all of us. So, are you ready to hear the story of a woman who has lived over a century and still wakes up every day with purpose? Trust me, her lessons will change the way you look at your own life. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. The power of letting go. When I asked Gladys about what has kept her so healthy, happy, and sharp all these years, she smiled and said something that stuck with me. Learn to let go of the things that don't matter. You'll be amazed at how light life feels when you stop carrying unnecessary burdens. She explained that this wisdom came from her mother, who had a simple philosophy she called K-Bani, meaning it doesn't matter. Gladys said her mother taught her to assess everything that came her way and ask herself one simple question. Does this really matter in the grand scheme of things? If the answer was no, she let it go. This might sound simple, but think about it for a second. How often do we hold on to grudges, stress over small misunderstandings, or let minor inconveniences ruin our day? Gladys believes that our inability to let go of these little things not only steals our happiness, but also chips away at our health. Stress, she said, is like a heavy suitcase. The longer you carry it, the harder it gets to move forward. So, why not just drop it? Gladys shared a deeply personal example to illustrate her point. At the age of 70, her husband of over 40 years asked for a divorce. She admitted that it shattered her world. At first, I thought, how will I survive this? My life felt like it was over, she told me. But as time passed, she began to reflect on her mother's lesson of K-Bani. She realized that holding on to anger, resentment, or sadness would only hurt herself. Instead of letting bitterness define her, she decided to focus on what she still had, a future, no matter how uncertain it felt at the time. I told myself, this isn't the end of my story. It's just a new chapter, and I started writing it, one small step at a time. She found solace in hobbies she had forgotten, like gardening and journaling. Eventually, she rediscovered her love for writing and started publishing books, something she never imagined doing before. Letting go doesn't mean you forget, she explained. It means you make peace with the past and free yourself to live again. Letting go can mean different things for different people. For some, it might be forgiving someone who hurt you. For others, it could be releasing the need to control everything in your life. Gladys emphasized that the first step is simply recognizing what's weighing you down. Start small, she suggested. Maybe it's a little argument you had with a friend, or an expectation you had that didn't work out. Ask yourself, does this really matter? And if it doesn't, let it drop. You'll feel lighter, I promise. One thing she said really stood out to me. Forgiveness isn't for the other person. It's for you. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to feel the pain. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve better. Is there something in your life right now that you need to let go of? It could be something big or small, but if it's stealing your peace, it's worth releasing. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's one thing you're ready to let go of today? Remember, as Gladys said, life is too short to waste carrying unnecessary baggage. Let it go, and watch how much lighter you feel. Lesson 2. The importance of purpose. When I asked Gladys what she thought was one of the biggest secrets to living such a long and fulfilling life, her response was simple yet profound. Every day, you need something to wake up for, something that makes you excited to face the day. If you're not reaching for life, life won't reach back to you. She paused for a moment, then smiled. Purpose, she said, is the fuel that keeps our hearts beating, no matter how old we are. Gladys shared that having a sense of purpose doesn't mean you need to have grand, world-changing goals. It can be as small as nurturing a plant, helping a neighbor, or simply enjoying a sunrise. For her, purpose evolved over the years. In her younger days, it was about raising her children and supporting her family. Later, it became about creating, writing books, sharing her stories, and connecting with others. Now, at 103, her purpose is to inspire others to find their joy and live fully. You don't need a reason as big as the sky, she explained. You just need something that makes you feel alive. Even the smallest thing can give your day meaning. Gladys believes that many people, especially in their later years, lose their sense of purpose because society often stops expecting anything of them. People look at us older folks and think, well, their time is past. But that's not true at all, she exclaimed. She told me that having something to look forward to every day, no matter how small, is what keeps her going. It could be a walk, writing a paragraph in my book, or even talking to a neighbor. Those little things add up, and before you know it, you've built a life filled with meaning. 3. Stay curious and keep learning. One of the best ways to keep your mind sharp and your spirit young is to continue learning. Whether it's picking up a new hobby, learning a language, or exploring a topic you've always been curious about, staying mentally active can bring a sense of accomplishment and joy. You don't have to aim for perfection. It's the process of learning that matters. Libraries, online courses, or community centers often offer free or low-cost opportunities to learn something new. What's something you've always wanted to learn or try? Maybe it's painting, gardening, or even playing an instrument. Share your dream in the comments. It's never too late to start. 4. Connect with nature. There's something incredibly grounding and rejuvenating about spending time in nature. A walk in the park, sitting by a lake, or even tending to a small garden can lift your spirits and calm your mind. Nature has a way of reminding us of the beauty and simplicity of life. If mobility is a concern, even sitting by an open window or on a patio with fresh air and sunshine can have a positive effect on your mood and health. When was the last time you truly connected with nature? Maybe you saw a sunrise, listened to birds, or felt the grass under your feet. Share your favorite way to enjoy nature in the comments. 5. Prioritize rest and relaxation. Rest isn't just about sleeping. It's about giving yourself permission to slow down and recharge. As we age, our bodies and minds need more time to recover from daily activities. Make sure you're getting enough quality sleep and take breaks throughout the day to rest when needed. Relaxation practices like meditation, gentle stretching, or even sitting quietly with a book can help you maintain a sense of calm and balance. Remember, rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. What's your favorite way to relax and unwind? Is it a cozy blanket and a good book? Or maybe a warm cup of tea by the window? Share your relaxation ritual in the comments. You might give someone else a new idea. By embracing these lifestyle adjustments, you can create a life that's both fulfilling and manageable. These habits aren't just about surviving. They're about thriving, even in the face of challenges. Your golden years are a time to celebrate, explore, and enjoy the richness of life. Congratulations on taking the time to reflect on the habits and choices that can make your golden years truly extraordinary. Life after 65 is not about slowing down. It's about embracing a new chapter filled with opportunities to prioritize your well-being, nurture meaningful relationships, and live with purpose and fulfillment. By focusing on physical health, emotional resilience, financial stability, independence, and intentional lifestyle choices, you're equipping yourself to thrive. These habits aren't about perfection. They're about making small, consistent changes that lead to a healthier, happier, and more independent life. As you think about everything we've discussed, I encourage you to pick just one habit to start with today. Whether it's taking a short walk, reviewing your financial plan, or simply sharing a heartfelt conversation with a loved one, each small step matters. These moments of intention and care add up to a life well lived. I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you're taking away from today's discussion? Maybe it's a new perspective, a habit you're excited to try, or even a piece of advice that you'll pass on to someone else. Share your thoughts in the comments. It's through conversations like these that we all learn and grow. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to share this video with someone who might benefit from it. Let's spread the message of health, happiness, and independence together. Remember, aging is not something to fear. It's a privilege. Each year is a testament to your strength, resilience, and the wisdom you've gained along the way. You have the power to shape this chapter of your life into one filled with vitality, joy, and peace. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. Your time, thoughts, and presence mean the world. Let's continue to support each other, celebrate life, and make these years truly golden. Here's to your health, happiness, and independence, today and always. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe so we can stay connected and keep this important conversation going. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Gladys shared a story about a friend she had when she was younger. This friend retired early, but within a few years, she became deeply unhappy. She had nothing to do, no reason to get out of bed. And that emptiness, it took their spark away. She explained that this is why so many people feel stuck or unfulfilled, regardless of their age. If you're just passing time, waiting for the next thing to happen, you're not really living. You're just existing. And life is too precious for that. Her advice? Never stop reaching for something. At the age of 80, when many people would consider slowing down, Gladys decided to start something new. I had always loved storytelling, she said, so I decided to write a book. I didn't know if anyone would read it, but it didn't matter. I wrote because it brought me joy. And guess what? That book led to another, and another. Before I knew it, I was a published author at 85. She laughed as she added, "You're never too old to start something new. I mean, if I can do it at 80, what's stopping you?" Gladys shared a few practical tips for finding purpose at any stage of life. 1. Reflect on what you love. Think about the things that make you happy. Is it painting? Spending time with loved ones? Volunteering? Start there. 2. Stay curious. She said, every day is an opportunity to learn something new. Pick up a book, try a new hobby, or simply ask questions about the world around you. 3. Connect with others. Purpose often comes from helping others. Whether it's your family, friends, or community, find ways to make a difference. 4. Be open to change. Purpose isn't static, Gladys explained. It changes as we grow. Don't be afraid to let go of an old purpose and embrace a new one. Gladys asked me to share this with all of you. If you feel stuck, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that excites me? It doesn't have to be big, just something that makes your heart feel alive. So, I want to ask you, what's your purpose? What's the one thing that gets you out of bed in the morning? If you're not sure, what's something you've always wanted to try? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, as Gladys said, life reaches back when you reach for it. So keep reaching. Lesson 3. The magic of laughter. When I asked Gladys about what keeps her so vibrant and full of life, her eyes sparkled, and she let out a laugh that seemed to echo with pure joy. Laughter, she said, is the secret ingredient to happiness. Without it, life would feel like a meal missing its salt. She leaned in and added, but here's the thing. laughter isn't just about humor. It's about finding joy, even in the hardest moments. It's a reminder that life is still worth smiling about. Gladys firmly believes that laughter is one of the most underrated tools for health and happiness. She told me, when you laugh, your body relaxes, your heart feels lighter, and your mind becomes clearer. It's like giving your soul a little massage. She shared that laughter has been scientifically proven to reduce stress, boost your immune system, and even improve your relationships. It's like medicine, but without the bitter taste, she joked. One of her most beautiful points was that laughter is even more powerful when it's rooted in love. Laughter without love can sometimes feel hollow or even cruel, she said. But when it's shared with kindness, it becomes a bond, a bridge between hearts. She gave an example from her own life. When my children were little, we didn't have much money, but we had laughter. We'd play silly games, tell funny stories, and just enjoy being together. Those moments are the ones I cherish the most. Even now, at 103, Gladys surrounds herself with people who make her laugh. My friends and I might be old, but we're still young at heart. We laugh about our wrinkles, our forgetfulness, and even our aches and pains. It makes everything feel lighter. Gladys shared a memory that perfectly illustrated the power of laughter in tough times. When she was in her 70s, shortly after her divorce, she went on a trip with a group of friends. One day, while hiking, she slipped and fell into a shallow creek. Soaked and embarrassed, she started to cry, but then one of her friends started laughing uncontrollably. At first, I was furious, she admitted. But then I looked at myself, covered in mud, my hat floating down the creek, and I started laughing too. We laughed so hard we couldn't breathe. That moment turned a miserable day into one of my favorite memories. She told me, that's the power of laughter. It takes the sting out of pain and turns it into something beautiful. Gladys believes that anyone can cultivate more laughter, no matter their circumstances. Here's her advice. 1. Don't take life too seriously. We're all just trying to figure things out, she said. It's okay to make mistakes or look silly. Laugh at yourself. It's good for you. 2. Surround yourself with joyful people. Find friends who lift you up and make you laugh. Those are the people who will keep your heart young. 3. Look for humor in everyday moments. Gladys said, life is full of funny moments. You just have to notice them. A baby's giggle, a silly joke, or even a clumsy fall can bring a smile. 4. Watch or read something funny. Sometimes, when I'm feeling down, I watch an old comedy or read a funny book. It works every time, she shared. 5. Laugh together. Shared laughter is the best kind, she said. It creates memories and deepens connections. Before we moved on, Gladys gave me a little challenge to share with all of you. Think about the last time you laughed so hard you couldn't breathe. What was it about? Who were you with? Write it down in the comments and relive that moment. You might just find yourself laughing all over again, she added with a wink. And if you haven't laughed like that in a while, it's time to change that. Go watch a funny video, call a friend, or just do something silly. Life's too short to be serious all the time. Laughter is one of those things we all have within us, but sometimes we forget to use it. Gladys' words reminded me how powerful and healing it can be. So, what's your favorite way to bring more laughter into your life? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you're ready, let's move on to the next lesson she shared. It's about a topic we don't often think about but is just as transformative. Let me know if you want to hear it. Lesson 4. The joy of meaningful work. When I asked Gladys about her views on work, she gave me one of her warm, knowing smiles and said, work is a gift, but only if you do it with love. She paused for a moment, as if to weigh her next words carefully, and added, labor without love is just drudgery. But labor with love? Oh, that's bliss. Her words caught me off guard. At 103 years old, Gladys still writes, still creates, and still contributes to the world in her own way. I don't do it because I have to, she said. I do it because I want to. It gives me purpose. It makes my heart sing. Gladys explained that meaningful work doesn't necessarily mean having a prestigious career or earning a lot of money. It's not about what you do. It's about why you do it. she said. Whether you're planting a garden, writing a book, or helping a neighbor, the key is to put your heart into it. She shared that for many years, her work revolved around raising her children and running a household. It wasn't glamorous, she admitted, but I loved it because I was doing it for the people I cared about the most. Later in life, when her children were grown and her home felt too quiet, she found new ways to channel her energy. She started writing, first as a hobby and then as a way to share her wisdom with others. Writing became my labor of love, she said. It gave me a reason to wake up in the morning and a way to connect with the world. Gladys also talked about what happens when work lacks meaning. I've seen too many people spend their days doing things they don't care about, just to pay the bills or meet someone else's expectations, she said. That kind of work drains your soul. She believes this is especially common among younger generations who often feel pressured to choose stability over passion. You see these young folks sitting at desks, staring at screens all day, and you can see it in their faces. They're stuck. They're not living. They're surviving. Her advice? Find a way to infuse love into whatever you do. Even if your job isn't your dream job, you can still bring joy into it, she said. Maybe it's the way you greet your coworkers or the pride you take in doing your best. Love doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. Gladys shared a touching story about a time when she almost gave up on writing. She had just finished her first book, and it wasn't selling as well as she'd hoped. I felt defeated, she admitted. I thought, why am I even doing this? But then, she received a letter from a reader, a young woman who had been inspired by Gladys' story to pursue her own dreams. That letter changed everything for me, she said. It reminded me that the value of my work wasn't in how many copies I sold. It was in the lives I touched. From that moment on, Gladys focused less on outcomes and more on the process. I realized that the act of creating, of pouring my heart into something, was its own reward, she said. And that made all the difference. Gladys shared a few tips for finding joy and meaning in your work, no matter what you do. 1. Know your why. Ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. If the answer doesn't feel meaningful, dig deeper or find a way to make it so. 2. Focus on the positive. Every job has its challenges, she said, but it also has its joys. Find them and hold on to them. 3. Celebrate small wins. Whether it's completing a task or learning something new, take a moment to appreciate your efforts. 4. Connect with others. Work is more meaningful when it's shared, she said. Build relationships with the people around you. They're part of your journey, too. 5. Keep growing. Don't be afraid to try new things or take risks, she said. Growth is what keeps work exciting. Gladys left me with this question to ask all of you. What's one thing you can do today to bring more love into your work? She believes that everyone, no matter their age or circumstances, has the power to transform their labor into something joyful and fulfilling. So, take a moment to reflect. Maybe it's finding a new perspective on a task you've been dreading. Maybe it's starting a passion project on the side. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And remember, as Gladys said, the work you do with love will always leave a mark, even if it's just on your own heart. Are you ready for the next lesson? It's about something we often forget, but can transform the way we connect with the world. Let me know if you want to hear it. Lesson 5. The Art of Listening. When I asked Gladys about something she wished more people understood, she paused, tilted her head slightly, and said with a gentle smile, listening. Real, loving listening. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give to someone, and to yourself. She went on to explain that listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding, connecting, and showing care. Most people listen to respond, she said. They're already forming their answer before the other person has even finished speaking. But when you listen with love, you listen to understand. And that kind of listening can heal hearts. Gladys believes that listening is the foundation of meaningful relationships. When you truly listen to someone, you're telling them, you matter. Your feelings matter. Your story matters. And that's something we all need to hear, no matter our age. She shared that listening has played a huge role in her life, especially in her later years. As I've grown older, I've realized that people often overlook the voices of the elderly. They assume we don't have much to say, or they're too busy to really hear us. But when someone takes the time to listen, it's like being seen again. It's a gift. She also warned about the difference between listening with love and listening without it. Listening without love is just noise, she said. It's hearing the words but missing the heart behind them. Gladys shared an experience from her younger days when she felt unheard in her own family. There were times when I'd try to share something important, but my words would get brushed aside. It hurt more than I realized at the time. That's why I've made it a point to always truly listen to others, no matter how busy I am. Gladys told me a touching story about her friend Martha, who lost her husband after 50 years of marriage. Martha was heartbroken, she said. She came to me one day and just started talking about her pain, her memories, her fears. I didn't know what to say, so I just listened. At the end of their conversation, Martha hugged her and said, "Thank you. You didn't fix anything, but you made me feel less alone." That's when I realized, Gladys said, listening doesn't have to fix problems. Sometimes, it just needs to hold space for someone else's feelings. And that's enough. Gladys shared some simple yet powerful ways to become a better listener. 1. Be present. Put away distractions, she said. Look the person in the eye and really focus on them. It's a sign of respect. 2. Don't interrupt. Let them finish their thoughts, she advised. Even if you're eager to respond, wait. They'll feel heard, and you'll understand them better. 3. Listen to the emotions behind the words. Sometimes, people say one thing but feel another. Pay attention to their tone, their expressions, and what they're not saying. 4. Ask questions. Show them you're interested, she said. Ask thoughtful questions that encourage them to share more. 5. Practice empathy. Put yourself in their shoes, Gladys said. Even if you don't agree, try to understand where they're coming from. Gladys also emphasized the importance of listening to yourself. We often ignore our own needs, our own feelings, she said. But if you can't listen to your own heart, how can you listen to someone else's? She shared how she started journaling in her 60s as a way to listen to her own thoughts and feelings. Writing became my way of understanding myself, she said. It helped me hear the things I wasn't saying out loud. Gladys posed a question for all of us. When was the last time you truly listened to someone, or to yourself? What did you learn from it? She believes that if we all made an effort to listen more deeply, the world would be a kinder, more understanding place. So, I want to ask you, who in your life could use a loving listener right now? And how can you start being that person for them? Let me know in the comments if this lesson resonates with you. Gladys would love to hear your thoughts. Lesson 6. The power of love in everything you do. As our conversation came to a close, Gladys leaned forward with a twinkle in her eye and said, "You know, if I had to sum it all up, every lesson I've learned, every bit of wisdom I've gathered, it all comes back to one thing: love. Love is what makes life worth living." She paused, her voice soft but firm, and added, "Love isn't just about romance or family. It's about how you show up in the world. It's about the kindness you give, the passion you bring to your work, and the way you care for yourself and others. Love is everywhere, if you let it be." Gladys shared that love has been her guiding principle through every stage of her life. As a young girl, she learned about love from her parents, who taught her to treat everyone with respect and kindness. As a mother, she poured her love into raising her children. And now, as a 103-year-old, she finds love in the simple joys of life, like a warm cup of tea, a good book, or a heartfelt conversation with a friend. Love is what connects us, she said. It's what gives life its color, its beauty. Without it, we're just going through the motions. Gladys doesn't shy away from the fact that life hasn't always been easy. She's faced heartbreak, loss, and challenges that could have hardened her heart. But she chose love every time. "When my husband asked for a divorce, I could have let bitterness take over," she said. "But instead, I chose to love myself enough to move forward. I chose to love life, even when it felt impossible." She also spoke about the importance of loving others, even when it's hard. "There were times when people hurt me, and I had every right to hold a grudge. But I learned that holding on to anger only hurts you. Forgiveness is an act of love, not just for the other person, but for yourself. Gladys shared a particularly touching story about her late brother, whom she hadn't spoken to for many years due to a family misunderstanding. As they both grew older, she realized how much she missed him. One day, I decided to write him a letter, she said. I told him I was sorry for my part in the disagreement and that I missed him terribly. He wrote back, and we reconnected. Those last few years we spent together were some of the most meaningful of my life. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, if I hadn't chosen love, I would have missed out on that, and I would have regretted it forever. Gladys offered some simple yet profound advice for cultivating more love in your life. 1. Start with yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup, she said. Take care of yourself. Treat yourself with kindness and compassion. You deserve it. 2. Spread kindness. A kind word, a smile, a small act of generosity. They can make a world of difference, she said. And they don't cost a thing. 3. Love what you do. Whatever you're doing, whether it's working, cooking, or spending time with your family, do it with love, she said. It transforms even the most ordinary tasks into something beautiful. 4. Forgive and let go. Love means letting go of grudges and resentment, she said. It's not easy, but it's worth it. 5. Be present. Love isn't about grand gestures, she said. It's about showing up, being present, and giving your time and attention to the people and things that matter. As we wrapped up our conversation, Gladys looked at me and said, if there's one thing I want people to remember from my story, it's this. Love is the key to a life well lived. Whether you're 20 or 103, it's never too late or too early to start living with love, she added. And if you're ever feeling lost or unsure, just ask yourself, what would love do? That question has guided me through my darkest days and my brightest ones. Gladys left us with a beautiful challenge. What's one way you can bring more love into your life today? Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've lost touch with, forgiving someone who hurt you, or simply showing yourself a little extra kindness. Whatever it is, take that step and watch how your world changes. Gladys wanted me to share this final thought with all of you. Don't wait until you're old to start living fully. Life is happening right now, in this very moment. Embrace it, love it, and let it surprise you. She believes that these lessons aren't just for those in their later years. They're for anyone who wants to lead a life that feels rich, meaningful, and full of joy. I'd love to hear from you. Which of Gladys' lessons resonated with you the most? Is there something you're inspired to change or embrace in your own life after hearing her story? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Let's start a conversation about what it means to live fully at any age. And if you found Gladys' wisdom as inspiring as I did, take a moment to share this with someone who might need a little extra light in their life. Together, we can carry her legacy forward and create a ripple of joy, purpose, and love. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Gladys' life and lessons. May her story inspire you to live with the same courage, curiosity, and compassion that she has carried for 103 incredible years.